Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Wednesday morning. We got BYU and football and basketball to get to. Frank Dolce's talking Ute football here in the opening hour. But let's start with your Utah Jazz because they did it. They won again. And I know that makes some of you nervous because that is win number 4 early in the year. And that was a clutch loss for an Indiana Pacer team that still only has one win. The race to the bottom has begun in earnest. And I know some of you hate this and some of you love it. And it is what it is. And the Jazz are sitting there with 4 wins now at 4-7. And there are a handful of teams with a worse record, 9 to be exact. The Jazz sitting on the 10th worst record in the league. And the Nets and the Wizards and the Jazz were projected as the bottom 3, but it's the Nets, the Wizards, and the Pacers who are the bottom 3. The Pacers, the team that the Jazz just thumped soundly. 20 points for Ace Bailey. That's probably the storyline of the game. Jazz win 152-128. Only the 5th time in team history they've scored 150 points, just 2 points short of the all-time record. The Pacers don't have size. The Jazz were able to get to the rim. It opens up the whole offense. It won't be that easy most nights. They won't be playing a one-win team at home most nights. But they were, and they took advantage of it. For more, let's get to the best of the postgame show.
It's your Jazz recap here on DJ and PK 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott with you this morning. The Jazz win big over the Pacers last night at Delta Center, 152-128. 35 points from Lauri Markkanen to lead the way to the big-time victory. Career high 20 points for Ace Bailey. 17 of those coming in the first quarter. Svi also added 20 in the win for the Jazz going away. Let's get to the post-game sound. Start things off with Jazz head coach Will Hardy.
Are hard. That team plays incredibly fast. It took us a second to adjust to the speed of the game. They had 11 transition points in the first 5 minutes of the game. And then we did a good job of kind of meeting the pace of the game, understanding what we needed to do to get back and get our defense set. They play a really up-tempo style, and so the score ends up looking crazy. But I felt like our team really competed tonight. Offensively, 38 assists, 8 guys in double figures. A bunch of guys played really well. Lauri obviously kind of sets the tone for us. I thought Ace for sure had his best regular season game as a pro. I think that was pretty obvious. I think Svi has been really solid for us this season. He doesn't get talked about much. Shoots a lot of catch and shoots, is making simple decisions, guards a lot of different positions. And so I want to make sure that he gets some love. Zay being back, on the second night of a back-to-back, we needed his pace. 11 assists, had some amazing passes, getting in the paint, finding the corner. I thought Cody did a really good job defensively tonight. Hasn't been in the rotation all year. Came in tonight and gave us 18 and a half really good minutes. So it's a good team win. These games, like I said, on a back-to-back with a team coming in that plays that style, those games can be really hard. I thought the team did a really good job tonight.
Do you think Cody's getting better?
Yeah.
What are you seeing from him?
Well, I think his physical strength is much better. You see it defensively, taking bumps, cutting guys off. Cody has a really high level of understanding on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, I think he's continuing to keep it really simple. But Cody works incredibly hard, and, he's stayed ready. And so I thought tonight the lift he gave us, especially on the defensive side of the ball, was big. He's shown that he can really move his feet. I think the work that he's done on his body is really helping him absorb contact.
What were some of the keys in having such a big third quarter?
I felt like we settled into really understanding how they were guarding us, but nobody forced the issue. I think we really settled in as a team into, hey, the game gets going up and down. we still need to execute offensively, and everybody needs to make the simple play, and that's how you end up with 8 people in double figures. I don't think that anybody was necessarily forcing it when they had it. I felt like everybody just kept making simple plays, and then, we obviously made a bunch of shots.
What stood out about Ace's first half especially?
He's also keeping it really simple. Like, I don't see plays where he's forcing it. For him to shoot some corner threes, he's shown the ability to create separation in a small space with his dribble. The tip in at the end of the half is a big play. We've talked about his crashing a lot early in the season. But I think that Ace is doing a really good job of playing off his teammates. We're running some things for him in different moments. It's a lot of stuff that involves another player, where either he's usually a handler or coming off of a handoff. But I think he's making really simple reads. Like, one of my favorite plays of the game was in the second half. He ran a ball screen with Lowry, and Lowry went off of a flare, and Ace made the read, threw it over the top, used his length and his size and passed the ball over the top, over the flare, and Lowry got to shoot a catch and shoot. Ace is getting better every day, and it's nice to see him have a really good game without making it about Ace, if that makes sense.
What have you made of how he's played on the defensive end just in these first 2 games?
Yeah, I think overall his positioning and understanding of the team concepts continues to improve. And Ace is big. Like, he's long. And I think he's starting to understand more and more how to use his length. I hope I don't regret saying it's been a couple days since he's gotten caught on like a sweep through or fouling a jump shooter, like all those things that are kind of tricks of the trade in the NBA. And so I think he's picking up all those little things, but ultimately right now his athleticism and his length are his advantages, trying to keep people from getting into his body. And I think he's doing a better job every day of that.
How have you seen the rookies, Ace and Walt, give to the group, submit to being on the team?
Yeah, I mean, they're both good human beings. They both have a great sense of humor. I think they've built trust with their teammates early on because of how hard they work. And I think our veteran players have done a good job of bringing them into the group. Like, I think, yes, rookies need to understand kind of where they are in the pecking order, and it's different, and you're used to being the man on your team, and maybe that's not the case here. But it's also really important for the guys that are already in the locker room to welcome them. It's hard being 19 or 22 and walking into a professional locker room and you don't know anybody. So I think those guys have had a lot of humility, and they've worked really hard, and they understand what their role is now and kind of what they need to try to accomplish to get better. But I do think a big part of them gelling with the group is because of how they've been welcomed by the rest of the team.
There is Jazz head coach Will Hardy. Let's now move on to the players and hear from Svi Mikhailuk.
I feel like just trusting my teammates, because I feel like we play the style that everybody gets an opportunity to catch the ball and make a right read. So I feel like in our offense, everybody just share the ball, and sometimes I might have 2 shots, sometimes it's 10. So it depends on the game, but it's just great that everybody shared the ball. Everybody's trying to make everybody better.
Yeah, Will Hardy was talking before the game about the shots haven't been falling, some of the threes haven't been falling, but the generation of shots is going well. That showed up tonight, and you're the one hitting a lot of those threes. How have you guys been able to kind of keep that confidence that the shots would eventually start to fall?
I'll just not get discouraged. I feel like even last game we got a lot of threes. A lot of them was open, and it was a lot of in and out. So I feel like for us, in order to keep progressing that aspect of the game, just keep finding open guys, just keep shooting the ball.
All right, thank you very much.
That is Fee, 20 points last night, 8 of 10 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3. Let's now move on to Bryce Sensabaugh.
I just say like the reads of the game is slowing down a lot more. The more games I play, the more it slow down. So all that plays an effect in it.
What was your favorite play you made tonight?
The assist to Larry, everybody was hyped. I mean, that assist and then that big rebound I got in the beginning of the game, it gave us another possession. Those was like my two favorite energized plays.
You look pretty pleased with the tip in at the end of the half.
Yeah, it was crazy. I like that one too. I forgot about that one, but that was a good one. I mean, it brought us all together, the teammates. I mean, it was all just smiles and joy.
One of the things we'll talk about is you guys haven't shot the ball as well as you can early in the year, and then tonight you have a night like tonight, scoring 152. Does that open up or kind of free you guys mentally to have better shooting nights moving forward?
I mean, it would help a lot. I mean, knowing that our shots going in, I mean, we like the shots we take, but I mean, we found ways around it when shots not falling, whether it's just pick and roll action, I mean, down screens, I mean, layups, putbacks, I mean, second chance rebounds, I mean, all that plays an effect if it's just not shooting night going.
And then you know Isaiah pretty well from Georgia.
Yeah.
Coming back, how's it just been playing with him?
It's been good. I mean, the tempo of the game is just a lot faster for us with him coming in, pushing the ball, his speed, I mean, his IQ, I mean, a lot.
What are you learning about playing NBA defense?
Hard. It's hard. I mean, it's the small details that you think that wouldn't be important, but those are important things, the small things. So I'd say just pay attention to the small details will help you.
What kind of small stuff?
Like shifts. I mean, you helping someone else help. I mean, from slice. I mean, from different things. It can be from just knowing whips and stuff like that.
Go ahead. Have you been surprised at all about, like, I guess, how hard, or you said it was hard, how complex defenses and offenses are in the NBA?
Yeah, I do. I mean, Indiana's a fast team, so I mean, we got to get back on defense. I mean, from playing slower teams, from like the tip. I don't want to say slower teams, but like not as fast as the Pacers play, but they're a fast team, so defense just get back.
Do you feel like you're developing film watching habits?
Yeah, for sure.
What's your habit go-to that you're
I mean, I watch film before every game with my Coach Chad. I mean, I watch it at home by myself. I watch it with my team back at home, too, without the coaches. So it's just a lot more film. I mean, without practicing a lot, I mean, film is your next best option. So I say I've been watching it a lot.
Did you watch that much film before?
The Pacers? You talking about before
no,
the
I
NBA?
mean, like at Rutgers.
No, I watched a lot of film, but I ain't watch as much as it was in the NBA.
Okay. What's the difference between like NBA film watching versus college film watching?
Every small details, the small details.
What's the kind of stuff that you're paying attention? Like, obviously, when you're watching with coaches and stuff, they're picking out certain stuff. When you go home and you're watching film alone, what's the kind of stuff that you're looking for?
I mean, if I'm watching someone else, I'll look at they strong right hand drivers. I mean, shade them left. I mean, I'm looking at the spin back lefts, or like they gonna go right, but they want to get back to their left hand. So I'm looking at like the important details, small details. I mean, from whipping. I mean, not knowing C shooters, B shooters, A shooters. I mean, just that helps you knowing that, to whip it. I mean, closeouts are very important. So all of it.
What about when you're watching yourself?
I look at where I could have got a better shot. I mean, I look at from where I missed a pass or I missed a rebound or a crash rate.
What's it like working with Chad?
It's fun. It's fun. I mean, like I say, Chad, very small detail person. I mean, he's very, very attention to detail. So it's fun watching him because he breaks down the very small stuff you wouldn't even look at that you would think.
Kevin Love told us yesterday that you had asked him about his footwork. What did you kind of take us through? What did you learn from him?
2 feet, very, very important. I mean, I made a play today, 2 feet. I mean, I looked at him. I mean, 2 feet going into the paint. I mean, drawing fouls give you a better option, and it also gives you an escape too, also without just going up one.
I imagine you've been stronger than players most of your life, and now at the NBA, there's probably a lot of guys who are stronger than you are at this point in your career. Has that made you change how you play at all?
Nah, I ain't always been the strongest either because college was around. So, I mean, it ain't really an effect. I mean, it plays an effect, and don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's no bother for me right now.
How's that relationship with Kevin developing?
Stronger. It's just getting stronger and better.
Do you call him P5?
Yeah, P5. Pick five.
Will was saying that one of the reasons that he feels like you and Walt are kind of thriving right now and having an easy time kind of transitioning is because the rest of the locker room has welcomed you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Did it feel like it didn't really take any time for them to kind of open their arms to you?
No, we clicked right away. I mean, first practice is just first in the summertime. We all just clicked. I mean, Summer League, we clicked. We all came together. As soon as I jumped off the PJ, it was just, we all was here. Same thing with Walt.
That is Bryce Sensabaugh had 16 points in 15 minutes, 6 of 11 shooting, 4 of 9 from 3 for Bryce. The Jazz blow out the Pacers 152-128. Next up for the Jazz, they take on the Atlanta Hawks tomorrow night at Delta Center. Tip-off for that one's at 7. Pregame begins at 6.
There's the best of the postgame show. When we come back, we are headed to BYU to hear from Kevin Young after BYU unexpectedly has to come from behind to beat Delaware. And then also from Aaron Roderick as he looks forward to the game with TCU Saturday night. We'll hear from the offensive coordinator. That's next. Stay with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, BYU got the win. They improved to 3-0. They beat the Delaware Blue Hens as expected. Delaware drops to 0-3 on the season, while BYU is a perfect 3-0. And Delaware had lost to Bucknell and Wilmington, Delaware. I mean, they're just coming in here. Who are these guys traveling across country, picking up a check? Yeah, it turns out these guys grabbed a 17-4 lead. They hit some threes early. BYU did not, but I think there was a distinct lack of energy, conviction, focus, will to win. I think they just thought they were going to cruise. I don't know. It's hard to know exactly what went wrong, but it's 17-4, so something went wrong. They still trailed at halftime. Really, BYU started to take control a few minutes into the second half. They came back and tied the game up, and then Delaware surged in front again, and then it was over. It was 53-52, BYU by 1 with like 12 minutes to go, and from there it was a blowout. It was 32-16 to close the game as BYU started throwing in three-pointers. I think they missed like 7 in a row at one point early in the game, and then Richie Saunders made back-to-back threes, and it was on. The lead went up to double digits with about 10 minutes to go, and they just kept pulling away. So what did Kevin Young think of a game that was admittedly rocky for a very long time? I mean, 20, 25, 28 minutes, that's a little more than you expect. Here's Kevin Young after the game.
What do you attribute the slow start for this group in the first half?
Good coaching on their part. They had a great game plan. They slowed the game down. They mucked it up. They played zone from the first play on, and that was a well-executed game plan. It kind of put our guys in mud. And I thought it was good for us to I just told the guys every game has a life of its own, and so you just have to find what buttons to push from a coaching standpoint and from a playing standpoint, and our guys did that. So.
What buttons did you push?
I thought we did a much better job outside of that first however many minutes where we started to play much faster. I thought we were kind of just in our heels. Allowing them to dictate the tempo of the game. I mean, it was clear they were trying to run the shot clock down to the last little deal. And, you got guys banking in threes from 30 feet. Like, it's hard to, it takes an emotional toll on you, too. But I thought our guys figured out, the recipe was to play fast, get to the paint, and then get threes. I thought we were settling, for no paint touch threes early on.
Kevin, did you feel like you may have looked ahead at UConn and past Delaware?
Maybe.
Kevin, did you direct Rob Wright to pretty much take over that game, or is that just something that came instinctively to you?
No, it was instinct. I mean, he's a great player. So, great players, and it's my belief you got to give them freedom. I think that's one of the reasons that Rob came here, to be honest with you, because I think our spacing allows for freedom. I think we allow for creativity. And him and I have had a lot of discussions, pretty frank ones, to be honest with you, about how important his decision-making is, when he gets to the paint, because he can get by anybody any night. And so I thought tonight he was just surgical. Obviously the three was going down for him, but I thought was almost more impressive was his rim finishing and his 9 assists. I thought he really got Richie going, and that's 2 games in a row now where it looks like what we all expect out of Richie. So there was a lot of good from that standpoint.
You talked Saturday about wanting to see the three start to go in. Second half, is that more what you expected?
I mean, look, games are great when you make shots. They're bad when you miss them. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. We all know it. We've all followed the sport. And so I think for me it's, are you taking the right ones, right? So I think to start out we were 0-12 from 3. I'd say probably 8 of them weren't great shots. And so we talk a lot about paint, great shot. And so tonight in the second half, I thought that was more in play, and that's how we got more of those threes up, and those go in.
Through 3 games, has anything really surprised you about this group yet, or is it pretty much kind of what you thought you would get?
I'm still learning this group, to be honest with you. Still really early in the season. So it's hard to say. I would not say anything that surprised me. But I also don't feel like I know this group like the back of my hand. I think we're still learning, what's best for this team on both ends of the floor.
You had a rebounded them 24-9 in the second half. Is that a point of emphasis to crash the glass?
Yeah, it was a point of emphasis. Probably it was the biggest point of emphasis coming into the game. I was very disappointed with how we rebounded the ball to this point outside of the Carolina exhibition game, and so challenged our guys to impose our will on the glass. So, plus 19 on the glass. I think my analytics guy in there is doing cartwheels because we got back half of our misses, I think, on the offensive rebounding piece. I'll give you guys a little inside nugget. So the other day I've been all over all these guys to rebound offensively, and so Rob Wright finally got his first offensive rebound. We shut practice down. On Rob. So he came in tonight and got 5 of them. Now he cheated and got a couple at the end there when it was over, but I like where his head's at though.
Did you leave him in to get that triple-double?
I have clueless. I have no idea what the stats are during the game in terms of that. So did he get one?
He was close.
He was close. Yeah, he was close. No, okay, that's probably why he was going so hard. I'll have to tease him every game and say, "You almost have a triple-double, go rebound."
You're 3 games and basically a week into it. What have you learned about your team?
We have some really good players, honestly, and so what can we do to continue to get these guys to play with each other and make each other better? I think that's the biggest challenge. I've been on a lot of teams that have had high-end talent, and sometimes it goes great, and sometimes it doesn't. And I think the ones where it goes great is when they all play for each other. And so it's bigger. Our team, for me, it's like bigger than the scheme. It's bigger than the X's and O's. Like if these guys play for the guy next to them, we're going to be really good because we have good talent. And, to your point about the shooting, if we can do all that and our 3 start going in like we know that they can, then that's obviously where we're going to be the most dangerous team.
Looked like AJ took an elbow to the face.
Yeah.
How do you feel like he responded after that?
Good. I mean, he's so grounded and nothing phases him, honestly. Like, I love that about him. For an 18-year-old kid, I mean, I just love his approach. He's super mature, and I thought he came in, I don't know if it was before or after that, but sometime during that moment, he really got downhill. Obviously, he's such a load getting downhill. I think all of our guys, I'm proud of all the guys because we talked a ton about like our rim finishing. So now you're seeing a little bit more variety with our moves in the interior. In that Villanova game, he was trying to jump over the whole world, and they were being vertical at the rim. So that's one thing I really love about AJ in particular is that you can tell him something, and he is really smart in terms of, okay, I see that, and I'm going to go do it. Some guys you got to tell 50 times, and they still don't get it. He's able to process things in warp speed.
Could Kennard Davis have played if you really needed him today, and is that something to be concerned about going into Saturday?
I mean, I'm concerned when all of our guys have any kind of injuries just because, you want a full, clean bill of health. I do think he could have played. I was telling the coaches afterwards, I mean, it's amazing when you take, one guy out, what it does to the team. He's such a huge part because of his toughness, his size, his defensive versatility. So I think for me, it made us all probably appreciate him even more. But to answer your specific question, I think he's fine moving forward.
What are your initial thoughts on Saturday against UConn? Did you watch last night? Just your thoughts on them?
I'm still getting caught up. I've watched several of their games. Obviously, a good team, really good coach. I mean, he's a really creative offensive coach. They run really good stuff. Obviously, he's had a ton of success, so great respect for him in particular in their program. So it'll be a good challenge, And I think some of the games we've played early have been helped us probably get ready for it. But looking forward to going out on the road on a kind of a longer trip with our guys. I think that's good team bonding and so forth. Cool to have AJ back in his hometown. Be cool to see how many BYU fans that show out at TD Garden. So we're looking forward to it.
2 more questions.
Are you going to be leaving Thursday? Like, what's the timeline when you guys are heading out there?
Yeah, we're leaving. We're leaving on Thursday. Yep.
Kevin, your big three guys, I think, I don't know what the percentage are, but they scored the bulk of your points. Is that kind of, I don't know, sustainable? Is that kind of how you want it, or do you think maybe that was because Kennard wasn't in the lineup?
No, I think those guys are going to score a lot of points every night, to be honest with you. I mean, I think we're searching, I would say, for somebody, off the bench to come in and, make shots. I think Dawson will be that guy when we're fully healthy. We're giving a lot of opportunity to Tyler. He has yet to have a game that, he wants it. But I think it's coming because he's a winning player. Like, he makes winning plays out there. I think Dom has shown flashes in the last 2 games that have been impressive. And we all think every shot Alex Kostic shoots is going in, so his time's coming just because we need shooting, and so somebody's going to answer the call. So we'll see. But again, I mean, our team is kind of built around those 3 guys, and I feel great when I wake up in the morning and know I'm going to battle with those 3 guys.
All right, there's BYU basketball coach Kevin Young. Let's pivot now to football. BYU offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick. Man, that was only a 7-point game at Texas Tech. That was a rough performance for the offense. Now, the defense this week shouldn't be as good. BYU has to bounce back and win at home. They need to win their last 3 games, punch their ticket to go to the Big 12 title game, something they almost did last year but didn't quite because they had late season, back-to-back losses in November. Are they going to repeat it now? They were 9-0 last year. They were 8-0 this year. They need to bounce back with a win. Here is Aaron Roderick.
Aaron, give us a brief debriefing on how you think the offense played at Texas Tech.
Tough day at the office for sure. We did not play well at all. First of all, I want to give credit to Texas Tech. That's a very good team. It's one of the best defensive lines I've ever coached against, if not the best. They've put together a heck of a roster there. However, there was a lot of mistakes we made pre-snap. We had a lot of trouble with the crowd noise, trouble hearing the play call, made a bunch of pre-snap mistakes in that game that really cost us. And then we weren't able to get anything going in the run game. And then, of course, in the passing game, it took 7-man protection to block their 4D linemen, and then we're running a lot of 3-man routes and into deep zone coverages. It was really tough to get open. So, yeah, it was a really tough day. We played poorly, and we're just trying to put it behind us and move on now.
How did LJ come out of it? I mean,
good.
Obviously.
Yeah, he felt good in the game. I thought he played well. We weren't able to give him a lot of carries because in the second half, once we got down 3 scores, we had to just go 2-minute and try to stay in it. And but he felt good, and he's ready to play again this week.
After the game, Chase talked about the inability to get an explosive play to really get things going against the offense. Is there something that you guys can do in the final 3 games that would allow you to have that, big burst that you might need to get into a rhythm?
Well, yeah, we've had a lot of explosives this year, and that game though was tough because, as I explained, we were, that 4-man rush is pretty intense, and we were using 7 guys to protect, and then you can only get 3 people into the route. And sometimes you get a check down or 2, but it's hard to get people open when their linebackers are dropping super deep and their secondary is not letting us behind them. Sorry. So it was tough to get an explosive play in that environment. And, we thrive. Our explosive plays come off of our, we establish the run most games, and then our play action passes are where our explosive plays generally come from. And we've been able to do that in every game this year except Saturday. And so we got to get back to our identity.
How do you think Bear responded immediately after the game, and then how do you expect him to handle it moving forward?
Yeah, he was really hard on himself. He felt like it was his fault, and I'm not surprised that he's a freshman. He finally had a bad game. It is what it is. He's played so well all year, and each week he's exceeded our expectations. And then this game he had a tough game, just like all of us did, and me included. And he felt really bad, and I've just been trying to, let him know that it's a team game. We need all 11 guys to play their best, and our coaches, we all have to coach better, and I expect him to bounce back and play well this week.
Looking into this week, what adjustments do you want to make in the run game going against another strong run defense?
Yeah, they're a good team. First of all, TCU is very good in their own right. Very impressed with them, and Coach Avalos is a very good defensive coordinator. So we have our hands full. But we do have a good offense. We have a good identity, and we just want to get back to it. We just need to execute better. And being at home, I think, will help because, like I said before, the crowd noise was a big factor Saturday. We did not handle it very well. We used a silent cadence Saturday that we had never used before. Did not do very well with that. And at home, we can get back to just playing our style of football. But we are playing against a very good team. I'm very impressed with these guys.
Was the wind affect your play calling at all there in Lubbock? Or?
A little bit, not much. It was more of a factor in the special teams. I thought that one punt that Parker struggled with, that was a 60-yard punt in the wind, and it was a tough one to field. But it was a little bit of a factor in the passing game, but no excuse there. I mean, it was just we did not play well enough to win.
If you could maybe game plan a little differently, is there anything, looking back, that maybe you would have done differently? Or?
Yes, but I'm not going to tell you what it is, but yeah.
After you guys suffered back-to-back losses last year, how do you look at what happened on Saturday a week ago and make adjustments to maybe like the game prep and those types of things so that way things are different this weekend?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have talked about that. We've addressed it, and I think we're trusting in the fact that we have a lot of veteran players who I think have learned a lot of good lessons from the past. Kalani always talks about, situations like this, it's an opportunity to learn. And if you don't use it as an opportunity to learn, then it's a waste. And so we're disappointed with losing, but it's a great chance to learn some good lessons and try to play better this week.
Do you feel like moving forward you'll still use Bear in the running game, although Texas Tech
for
was
sure.
clearly ready for it?
They were pretty dialed in on stopping Bear from running the ball. But yeah, he'll be a part of our run game every game.
What did you think of JoJo's performance coming back from injury and playing on Saturday?
He was a little rusty, yeah. I mean, it kind of reminded me of, Parker missed most of fall camp and then took him a couple games to get it going, and then he ripped off 4 or 5 great games in a row. And I feel like JoJo, you could see he was a little rusty out there. He hadn't played in, 7-8 weeks. And I expect him to just get better each game. He's a really high character kid. Same as Barry. He's kind of hard on himself. He felt like he let us down, and I told him you just keep working. You'll play better each game as you get back into the swing of things.
So over the years, BYU's had a little bit of struggle with TCU for some reason. I mean, you weren't part of it all, but why is that, other than that they're just always a good program?
Yeah, TCU is just a great program, and they have been for years. I had a bunch of good battles with those guys when I coached up the road, and I know BYU's had a bunch of good battles with them over the years. 2 years ago, we had a pretty humbling loss down there. So yeah, we know what we know what we're in for Saturday. We know this is a good football team, a well-coached team, and they're tough and they're super athletic, and we're expecting it to be a really tough game.
There is BYU offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick. A reminder, join JJ and Alex today from 3 to 6 at RGS Exteriors, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. Coming up next, Frank Dolce, the former Ute quarterback, a reasonable guy. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, and we are joined by Frank Dolce. Frank, good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Frank, coming off a bye week, man, what do you do with yourself?
Oh, I don't know.
Thank goodness you got a game this Saturday. Lockdown, playing around it.
It's an excellent question.
Give order to your life.
I know. Do you think that you feel like that? Like, you're going through the season, then you have a bye week, and you kind of like you don't know what to do with yourself on a weekend, or do you feel like, oh, this is nice to have a weekend off?
As far as we're concerned?
I know what your answer is.
I mean, we're still watching games, and then, from our perspective, the only time we would really have a week off is if BYU or Utah had a bye. And then there's conference games to watch, which is fine, great. I look forward to it. I mean, it blows by so fast. We're already in November. It's like, 12 weeks and no problem. There's plenty of time to do other stuff the rest of the year. I I look forward to every Saturday in the September and October, November months, and I suppose into December and spills into January, but particularly during the season for everybody, and then see where they get and where they stack up and where they go as far as that goes. So I think for Utah right now, the question is, can they go undefeated? And I suppose the answer is yes if you use the verb can, but if you change it to will, maybe that opens up a little more debate.
I think it's a funny team because I think they've in most games outside of 2 games they've played really well, especially recently, like kind of dominating efforts, rising to the level of expectations, shutting down opposing teams, and so it's interesting to look back across the 2 games where they didn't win, and some of the issues that went along with that. I think Texas Tech I think they're really good.
Yep.
Certainly beatable, but really good. And maybe that may be a closer matchup. I wouldn't say that Utah necessarily goes in and wins that game in a rematch, but certainly I think they would perform better. Although, even with the problems they had, they were still really close in the fourth quarter until it got blown out. I think that Utah beats BYU in a rematch. I think that's the way that Utah's played recently. I think they win that game, and I don't think it's necessarily a blowout, but I think they win that close game in a rematch.
Oh, they kicked the crap out of him, Frank. Let's call it like it is.
Really?
No, I got no idea.
Well, the next 3 are very winnable games, and so I don't know. We talked about it last week. I don't know if I like where the bye week fell because Utah had some momentum, and sometimes it's really difficult to regain momentum coming off of a bye. So we'll see how. And sometimes it's a matter of a quarter or so, and then you find your rhythm again. But you don't. This is one of those games where Baylor is good, beatable, but good, and if you let you have to jump on them early and start dominating the game. If you let Baylor hang around, all of a sudden you find yourself in a difficult situation in the fourth quarter. That's a game that Baylor could snatch away. So it'll be interesting to see how, coming off of this bye week, how they perform early in the game.
I assume they're going to be able to run the ball because looking at Baylor's losses, Baylor did a good job against the run against UCF, but in the losses, Cincinnati ran for 196 yards, TCU ran for 265 yards. If you're going to compete with Utah, you've got to have either a very good or a great defensive line. And the 2 teams that beat Utah are either very good or great when it comes to stopping the run. Baylor looks like a disaster. Cincinnati and TCU ran all over them. Arizona State also beat them and ran all over them. How are they going to stop the run? Utah would need turnovers, penalties, sacks, negative plays. I just don't see how they're going to limit Utah to 3 or 4 yards a carry. Kyle's going to go for it on 4th down. The analytics are going to tell him to go on 4th down. And against Baylor, I think those analytics are going to be awesome because I don't think Baylor doesn't sound like they got a run defense that can stop anybody when they only need a yard or 2.
Yeah, I think Baylor will have to just take a chance and walk a bunch of people up to the line of scrimmage. They're just going to have to get safeties and everybody within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage and just sell out against the run. I think that's their
only
that's
chance.
Going to be their best chance. And so and then you do that and you say, well, okay, so it's been the question mark this year. Can Dampier and the passing game provide enough to score points, stay on the field, score points, and make the defense pay for walking up to the line of scrimmage? I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. To see Baylor do that, and to see anybody do that until Utah proves that they can throw the ball effectively downfield. Effectively meaning, 65% completions, and lots of yardage in the passing game. So I think that's always been the question about this team this year is if you can't stop the run, you're in trouble. If you're going to sell out to stop the run, does Utah have enough offensively to beat you through the air? And I think we'll see that. I still say the same thing. Like Dampier is good enough throwing the ball. I think we'd like to see him be a little more efficient throwing the ball downfield. But I do like his depth of talent catching the football, and that's with tight ends, and that's with wide receivers, and that's with people coming out of the backfield. I think there's a good depth of talent that can keep a defense off balance.
The one thing that I would eliminate if I'm Jason Beck is the deep ball, because it seems like on his interceptions, that's when they occur. And it's just not there, so don't force around in a square or square and around, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
He threw one up for grabs. It didn't matter because they were beating Cincinnati senseless. But, I mean, it was to the point of virtually standing there and handing the defensive back the ball. And we know that there was a critical interception on a deeper throw against BYU, so just stop that. And I think they can still be effective and win the games doing what they do, running the ball with him particularly, and now Parker has sort of come into his own now after a slower start, but he's fine and he's taken off. And then just do those short passes and just stick with that. If that's what's going to win you games, go ahead and win them, because I think in large part they got a nice ranking in the playoff committee because they've been beating the snot out of all these teams. Well, that's already on the books. So if you just go win these next 3 games fairly comfortably and not by 30 points, that's good enough to what you're trying to accomplish. So take that mindset, and I think they'll go 3-0.
If you can, I don't disagree with the deep ball. I think, Coach, it's like you. So you watch game film and you look at defensive weaknesses and you say, you know what? If we run this play, or if we tweak our play, if we run this play, this guy should be open. I mean, we should be able to throw the ball downfield, and so everything looks so good on film, and the way you draw it up, and even maybe the way that you practice it, that you kind of like, well, we have to give it a shot. It should work, and then whatever happens, it doesn't work. But I think you're exactly right. The deep ball has been the issue, and getting late in a progression seems to be the issue. But getting rid of the ball quickly and moving around and throwing the ball on the move seems to be well within Dampier's capabilities. So let's just say Utah throws the ball and averages 5 or 6 yards per catch, but they're completing 70% of their passes. I mean, that sounds like, and still, getting a decent amount on the ground. That sounds like that could be a winning formula, and no turnovers. I mean, no turnovers is going to be the key. So I think I like that idea of just playing more into the strength of the quarterback. Get rid of the ball quickly, get it to the guys who can make a play downfield, average 5 or 6 yards per catch, high completion percentage. That seems like a winning formula. And you have an offensive line that I think is starting to perform like everybody said they should perform early in the season, which should be a great benefit to Dampier. So, offensive line, obviously, running game, those are the 2 most important things to a quarterback. And so the offensive line seems to be there. If Baylor tries to sell out and Utah can still complete 70% of their passes, I think that's a winning formula.
Any worries about the defense versus an offense? I mean, Baylor can score points. And they have in a bunch of games this year, and they can score points in bunches. So is there any worry about that? because if Baylor has a path to winning this, I mean, they lost to TCU 42-36. They beat K-State 35-34. You see the kind of games. SMU was a 48-45 game. If Baylor's going to get you, it seems like that's the kind of game where, yeah, you run for 1,000,000 yards and you get your 35-42 points, but we have the ball last and we outscore you. But Utah's defense hasn't really found themselves in that situation. Could this be different?
It could be. I mean, I don't think you want to necessarily get into a track meet with Baylor, and there have been times when there's times when the defense looks really good, like attack. I think they're in the Big 12, like their percentage-wise of bringing extra pressure is the highest in the Big 12. I may be off on that by a team, but I think that's true. It's a very attacking style defense, and when they get into that mode, it just creates problems for offenses. We saw that happen against Cincinnati and the frustrations in the quarterback and all of those things. So I think that Utah has given up some pretty interesting chunk plays in the run. I think that's a little bit of a concern. And so being really solid against the run, I mean, the worst thing that could happen to Utah is giving up long, sustained scoring drives to Baylor and finding yourselves in a back and forth type of affair. I mean, if Utah gives up a longer drive but then limits to a field goal or no points, that's okay. But long, sustained touchdown scoring drives, I think that could be really, really impactful this week. So, but I think this defense has the capability, the talent capability to slow down that offense. And then if Utah can create a turnover or two, that would be significant. So it's a dangerous offense. And I think Utah's shown some signs of being a little soft at times in areas. But generally, I think it's a really good matchup for Utah defensively.
All right. Yeah, I like it. I like that. That's reasonable, Frank. You're a reasonable man this morning.
Wait, when am I not? I mean, I've heard that. You're not the first person who said that to me. But I still, scratch my head. I always feel like I'm pretty reasonable.
Well, that's a compliment. Why'd you take that as a negative? Is it because I said it?
It's because so many people say it that I'm starting to question.
I don't follow that logic. You're being unreasonable.
Now he feels better.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. Everything's back in order.
Yeah.
Well, there's a sense of semblance with the Utah football program that this is where, for so many years, it has been as we get into November, and we see the reasoning as to why they are where they are, yeah. And we know the reasons that why they're here, and we're back at the same spot where it seems like outside of last year we've been for the last 10 years.
Yeah. There's as much as everything changes, it doesn't really, everything stays the same. and I like this. I like this football team. I like the style. I mean, I've kind of come around. I used to say, kind of poking fun at Coach Whittingham, he would, if he could win every game 9-7, then he would do that. That's
his comfort zone. Yeah.
Stifling defense and just get a safety and just enough to get across the finish line on the offensive side and control the ball, control the time of possession, which time of possession is only meaningful to me with a Coach Whittingham offense. That's just the way he plays. It's such old school that's still a meaningful statistic for him. So I've come around on that. I've become a guy that's I want to see a stifling defense. I want to see an offensive football team. I mean, I'd like to score more than 9 points, but I'd like to see an offensive football team that is long, methodical, beat up a defense kind of drives. And then find yourself in the fourth quarter where an opponent is just like, man, I've had enough of this. I've had enough of this kind of angst at the line of scrimmage all day long. So I like that style of play, and I think this is a team that is aligning with that style of play as we go through the season. I make it sound like they're trudging on 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but what are they averaging? I mean, like it's also interesting that they're averaging so many points per game. Like I can't remember off the top of my head what the points per game average, but it's like tops in the Big 12. Like that's pretty
Well, they
significant.
lead the country in margin of victory, I think, and Texas Tech is second. I think it's like 36 or something. The conference puts it out every week, and Texas Tech is right there too.
So as much as we want to say like, oh, this is a grind you at the line of scrimmage football team, you got to establish the run. We're gonna, it's gonna be a low scoring. Well, it feels like that in ways, but then the productivity, statistically, the productivity looks much different than that.
I think the thing is that they seem to average 6 or 7 yards of play depending on the game.
Yeah.
But they seem to average 6 or 7 yards of play whether they're running or throwing the ball. The short passing game has been really effective, and Dampier's kept his completion percentage above 65% and bounces around 66, 67, whatever. He's kept it up there. And it seems like I don't know realistically that you can say never throw the ball deep. Although I've been tempted to say that. But if he does, I think your situation where Baylor, where they're putting 10 guys in the box, it's like and your whole thing about the longer progression, well, now the receiver's further downfield and he just can't throw it that far. Like physically, he can't. So why get mad at him? He can't do it. You're just wasting your time getting mad at him for that. But if there's only one safety, a quick look with your eyes to move him one way and then throw it deep the other. The pigs don't usually come in one-on-one coverage. They tend to come where there's more zone, or there's two safeties and they're staring at the QB and they see the ball the whole way. That's what happened to the one at the goal line. PK and I were sitting next to each other, and from the second he wound up to throw it, and we were both like, nope, that's going to be a bad idea.
Don't do that.
But there's too many guys standing at the goal line looking at him that are going to react to the ball the second he throws it. So, of course, it got picked off.
I had a guy at El Camino Junior College, PK, Coach Pete, and I threw a bad interception in a game, and Coach Pete was our quarterback coach. I walked off to the sideline, and he looked at me and it was the simplest thing in the world, and all he said was, "Don't throw into coverage."
So there's a lot of guys wearing the other color shirt. Don't throw it there.
That was it, and it was like such an aha thing, because you have this sense like, oh, I can make a play, I can throw it in, I can sneak it in there. But when you take it, when you have that perspective, like, wait, don't throw into coverage. And then, circumstantially, if you're down late in the game, you have to, maybe you take a shot, something like that. But generally, that's a pretty good rule. I think that's a pretty good life rule. Maybe we should make some T-shirts. Like, that's a life
Don't throw
lesson.
into coverage.
Don't throw into coverage. Like, it's so simple. And it's a hard with the confidence in these guys and the belief in the ability to make any play. Sometimes that can be challenging to overcome. But I think that's it. It's as simple as that. Even if it gets late in the progression, even if you're under pressure, even if, just don't throw into coverage.
Got it. I don't know if it was a quarterback who'd been in the room with Joe Flacco or if it was a receiver, but it was one or the other. It was an ex-player. And he got asked, how come Joe Flacco is not only in the league at this age, but he's playing, and he's occasionally winning big games against good teams? And the guy cracked up like you're laughing right now, and he said Joe Flacco can adapt to any offense, because it's not that he doesn't care about the offense, but his rule is simple. Where's the one-on-one coverage? Who's one-on-one?
Yeah.
Defenses have either one or two extra players, right? If they're rushing four and there's five guys blocking them, they've got an extra guy they can put out there. And they don't have to defend the quarterback, because you don't need to spy on Joe Flacco. He's not running anywhere. So there's one or two extra guys. He just figures out where they are, and then he throws it to somebody else. He's like, you can give him all the language and and he just cuts through it when he drops back who's one-on-one. Because NFL receivers one-on-one, they're probably going to win. So he just finds
that-
the one-on-one. He doesn't throw into coverage. He goes with the positive that you needed the negative. Don't throw into coverage. And Joe's thinking, where's one-on-one? Boom.
Where's one-on-one? Yeah, I mean, I think that is going to be important this week as well, especially if Baylor starts walking up. Like, if they start sneaking toward the line of scrimmage, that's kind of a quarterback's dream, to be honest, to see, like, this safety is never – I mean, he's playing center field, but he's never going to be able to get back in coverage.
Right.
Like there's just no help. And so you may have one or two guys, depending on the route, that will find themselves in that situation. And then you can take a chance throwing the ball downfield. Yeah. And so maybe that is, that if that unfolds, that would be a situation where I'd say, yeah, let's, take a shot. Let's throw it downfield. Even though, as I think we all agree, throwing downfield late in the progression
bad idea.
With a few people around in the wrong color jersey has not been meaningful for Utah this year.
Well, Frank, see, when you say it like that, I think you're a reasonable guy.
Well, listen, this has been a very reasonable conversation.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Frank. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, you guys are the best. Talk to you soon.
There's Frank Dolce. What is trending? The headlines are next.